In response to question 1 by the Netherlands on addressing climate challenges, Uganda has a Climate Change Act and a climate change policy which provide direction to all sectors that are affected by climate change. The interventions include early warning systems, resettlement of disaster-prone communities, wetland restoration, and tree planting, and this is ongoing. Response to question 2 by Netherlands on climate financing. Currently, the government of Uganda is utilizing domestic revenue mobilization strategy, which is, of course, inadequate. Secondly, Uganda has been accredited to receive climate funds directly by Green Climate Fund and Adaptation Fund, as opposed to previous practice of accessing the funds through intermediaries. However, the process is very slow, complex, tedious, and resource intensive. In addition, a climate finance unit has been established to coordinate national actions to mobilize climate funds from various national and international sources. On my response to the question from Zimbabwe, Uganda government has implemented several financial strategies, including ensuring peace and security, increased production, productivity, value addition through wealth creation programs such as Parish Development Model, Emyoga, Youth Livelihood Program, Women Grow Project. This is funded by World Bank for the vulnerable people. We are also capitalizing Uganda Development Bank to provide cheap credit and financing to the private sector. In response to question 2 by Zimbabwe on financing and debt repayment, here is my response. That enhancing domestic revenue mobilization by implementing tax policy reforms and administrative improvements. We are also implementing the debt management strategy to ensure that our debt remains sustainable in the short term and medium term and long term. We are also strengthening partnerships with development partners and international organizations to access climate finance and expertise. Uganda has prioritized the agro-industrialization programs for increased production, productivity through mechanization and irrigation, value addition, marketing, and strengthening food systems, which are core to addressing hunger. Thank you so much. May God bless you all.
We have strengthened collaboration and partnership with civil society organizations. First and foremost, these civil society organizations are largely led by Ugandans. So their rights are embedded in the Constitution, and they exercise those rights as citizens. Occasionally we disagree, so that does not mean that the civic space is shrinking. We have civil society organizations that occasionally use the language of politics. They refer to the government as a junta, and we tell them, look, why don't you form a political party? And we go and speak to the people and we decide who will be more preferred. So these are the kind of tags of war that are mischaracterized as shrinking public space. On the question of peace building, I come from the north of the country, which was for long the home of the Lord's Resistance Army of Joseph Kony. With the support of the international community and many of you, the guns are silent. And that community is now struggling to reap peace dividends. And they actually need additional support because they sort of need a special diet. They have these vulnerabilities.
Stresses the importance of fully implementing the Secretary General's proposal for the SDG stimulus for developing countries to tackle the high cost of debt and rising risks of debt distress, to enhance support to developing countries, and to massively scale up affordable long-term financing for development and expand contingency financing to countries in need. In conclusion, the group reiterates its commitment towards the full implementation of the 2030 Agenda. We urge the international community, particularly the developed countries, to provide the required means of implementation to support developing countries to adequately address the challenges they face in their efforts to accelerate the implementation of the 2030 Agenda. I thank you.